Hello, I'm Marta Locklear and I'm excited to share with you the all-new Refine 4 preset collection for both desktop and mobile. This collection is perfect for photographers who want a versatile, high-quality editing tool. It's designed to give you natural, true-to-life colors with a polished editorial vibe. Whether you're editing in Lightroom Classic, Photoshop ACR, Capture One, or the Lightroom Mobile app, these presets are great for softening bold colors, giving you luminous skin tones and very little red, and producing soft, natural greens that fit perfectly across different types of photography. From weddings and portraits to brand work and studio shoots, Refine 4 has a range of options. Low contrast, crisp whites, high contrast, and even direct flash. Plus, it's packed with quick adjustment tools and some new powerful AI features that help streamline your editing process and give you professional results fast. Today, I have a beautiful collection of 50 images taken by our amazing Refine Co community that I'd like to edit for you to show you how the new Refine 4 collection works on a large variety of images. Let's get started. First, let's take a look at the collection itself. Here's the collection. You can see it's a nice, robust collection. We have 4 main presets, all derived off of the same tones with different levels of contrast, highlights, black points, and then 4 being the one that works great on like direct flash, which is becoming really popular in today's photography. And then 2 black and whites. We have 1 tone. We've added a little bit of magenta. We always like to have a tone in there, whether it's built into a preset or an actual tone for when you've got those greens and color casts and stuff. That little bit of blush tone, magenta tone really does help neutralize those weird green colors that we can get sometimes. Then we have brighten, contrast. These are things you guys are used to seeing. We added in a couple of new things. Glow, which gives like a nice, almost like wearing a good highlighter on your skin, glow to the skin. And then we have glow soft, which is actually just that. It's a glow. It softens and lowers the clarity of the whites. So I'll show you how it looks. It just gives a nice dreamy ethereal effect to the images. Grain tools, a couple of greens tools. This is a very natural preset. So if you want a little bit of a cooler green, more on the blue-green side, we added a tool in to give you just a little smidge of that. This is a very gentle preset in the overall colors and tones. And then green soften just pulls a little of that saturation out, which, sometimes we get those neon greens that would need a little help. Of course, shadow lifts, vibrance tools, and then new AI tools. These are built into masking. And, if you know how to use it, it's over here. You can do your own, but we try to make some quick ones for you that kind of fit with this collection. So it's one-click wonders. We'll show you how those work as well. And of course, our undos. Let's go ahead and get started. This collection of images is nothing short of amazing. We had so many submissions, and I appreciate everybody that did send in images to us to edit and try to launch with this collection. We had a hard time narrowing it down, and that's why I have more than 50 here by quite a few photographers. So I will put their names in the notes of this video for you guys to be able to give them shout outs, follow them on Instagram, and check out their work in general because they're all extremely talented. So let's just go ahead and take a look at the collection and get started. This is straight out of the box. No white balance or anything's been done. This image is great. Straight out of the box, honestly, it doesn't need a lot of work. I'm going to run the first one, and as you can see, one click. It's gentle, sophisticated, brings down the color point just slightly enough to make it very editorial. And that just looks gorgeous. There's really not a lot I would do to that. This one just has a brighter white, a little bit of a crisper effect. This one obviously is a little moodier and darker. It's not super strong on this image. Some images it shows off a little more. This one is intended for direct flash, but we found out after we designed it for flash photos that it actually works on other photos for more of a moodier contrasted look. And I actually really like it on this image. But it looks amazing on direct flash, whereas these usually pull the highlights down. When you're dealing with direct flash, sometimes you need those highlights to actually be lifted. And this gives you that contrast of the deep blacks and the highlights to give you that fun direct flash look. And then, of course, black and white. This is very classic. We kept the grain out of it, so you can add grain in if you'd like. And then the soft, which we really like as well. And of course, everything is still adjustable here in your sliders. And yeah, so let's just go ahead and go back. I'm going to go back to 1 and let's just kind of look at some of the tones. There's the blush tone. Let me see. Let me pop this over. So I'm just going to put the first one over here. And there's the blush tone. And that looks beautiful too. When you want that just a little bit of like magenta or that fine art film look, you can add the blush tone on. And again, this is completely adjustable. So if straight out of the box is a little too much, you need just a smidge, you can dial it back. And that's what we love about this new tool in Lightroom. Brighten does just that, brightens, contrast, of course, those are your normal things. Glow, so you can see how that just really just kind of lifted like a little bit of a glow on those highlights. It's very gentle in this image. I'm going to actually go back to the start here. There we go. Probably see a little better. There's glow, and then glow soft. You can see it just really, if you watch up in here, her skin and everything. And I'm not going to do this on every image, but I wanted to kind of give you guys a little run around. I'll go ahead and take that off one more time so you guys can see how it just kind of softens things up, gives it a little more of that dreamy, ethereal look. Grain, you won't be able to see on video. Greens, we have no greens in this image. Shadow lift, you know, these are your normal lift of the shadows. And of course, your vibrance tools. This image really doesn't need it, but if you felt like you wanted a little more color, you know, these are gentle. So you're not going to get oversaturation, but you're definitely going to get like a little boost. We can kind of see it here. Brightened her lips, richened her skin tone a little bit. So if this felt a little too neutral for you, this gives you what you need there. Let's go ahead and do shadow background. Give it a try. Let the AI run. And you can see that lifts. And again, the beauty of this is you can adjust it. So this, instead of having to lift your entire image, which is what these do, this is only lifting specific areas. So if you really, you know, maybe you're dealing with an interior designer or something and you really needed those backs lifted, there you go. You don't have the dark hole behind her. Personally, I like it because I think it frames her nicely, but I wanted to show you guys how this works. So let me undo that for you. Shadow lift subject, don't need it on this image, but you can see it lifted her hair. This is ideal for backlit images when you need to lift the subject, but your background looks great and you don't want to lift everything. This gives you that. Skin deepen just does that. It just richens up the skin tones a little. If you feel like, because this has a very low saturation point, so this gives you the option of doing that, or maybe you want in between, and so you can see you could adjust it and make it your own. Let me go ahead and undo that. Skin glow does that. It just brightens up that peachy skin tone and it really gives you a little more of that luminous look. I mean, she already has a great color. The light, I mean, the venue is all white, so the color on this is ideal. I mean, you can't get better than this. So really the colors are great and she didn't need a lot of help. Sky fixed won't be obvious on this because we don't have a sky. So let's just go ahead and move on to some more images. I've got a lot, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking through them all. I just want to show you how the collection works. So there's one click there. I would probably lift this. Now you can keep it because the idea of this is that we're seeing a lot of this more kind of unedited edit look, especially amongst wedding photographers where things are a little moodier, almost underexposed, very low contrast, and that was the idea behind this. You can see this is just a slight bump on things. You could pop it up if you want a little bit of a brighter white for a crisper look. That's your second one. Of course, a little more mood, but it's very, very simple. And then you still have full adjustability here, so you can really push it. That gives it a little more of a glow there. And then you can lift. So you really, it's just such a versatile collection. Very happy with how this collection turned out. But I could just run one click and just lift the exposure as well. That looks beautiful. It's clean. Really doesn't need a lot of work. Here's a good one to kind of look at the greens. Let's take a look at this. Really doesn't need any adjusting. Let's do one click. Kind of click through. Actually, 2 looks really good on this. And there you go. Beautiful skin tones, not too vibrant, soft ethereal greens. I mean, this is what lens, 85 millimeter. I had a feeling. The bokeh on this is just stunning. So gorgeous. And of course, you could put the blush tone on if you want. Doesn't need it. You could contrast it if you like things a little crisper. glows soft. You can see how it just really gives it that ethereal feel. And again, you can turn this down if that's too much and you want in between. You don't want to do that. That's just not real. So this is good when you want to just kind of soften that up a little. You just need take a little bit of that digital edge off. It really gives you that option there. Green cool, you see it just gives that nice, if you watch the greens, I'll do it again real quick. Green cool, and again, you can turn this down too. Really gives you a lot, and that just pulls off the saturation, but there's not a lot there. But there you go. Next image. Love this image. Love this whole shoot actually. And same thing, let's run that. And I think I'm going to lift this just a little. And this is one of those ones where I'm going to try, the background, everything looks great. I'm going to try just lifting the shadows on the subject and see how it just, let me turn that off, just gave them a boost where we needed to bring up the black point here. Let me see if I can turn it off real quick. So there's off and there's back on. It's gentle, but it keeps them from, falling into this like dark void here between their hair and their skin tones, and really lifted them into the image. And you can of course lighten it even more by pushing the slider, but that way the background stays beautiful and we only lighten the areas that we want. I think that looks absolutely amazing. And of course you can push this. I would not do that. The idea of this is to be very sophisticated, very editorial and clean. Same thing. You can see how that immediately just livened everything up. His suit still looks black. Skin tones look gorgeous. She looks healthy, but not overly orange. The whites look good. We can see the nude in her dress. We really try to keep things as clean as possible. And then you can, of course, lighten up the this little area down here if you wanted to with the pups. Actually, let me go back to that. I want to click through the others. I think this would be, and there's the brighter version, a little deeper contrast. That's ideal for when you have a flatter image. Of course, there's the flash one, and might be a little too strong for this, but I think this would be a nice one to show off the black and whites. And there you go. That's just beautiful. You can add on the grain, zoom in, and look how beautiful that is. All right, one click. Going to lift. I'm actually going to pull this down just a smidge. Do a little slider adjustment. Take out a tiny bit of magenta. It leans a little magenta in her face. I want to pull a little of that out. And there you go. I think I'm going to use the simpler one, and I am going to actually lift this, and I'm going to turn it down a little somewhere in here, and now we can actually see them. So now I can adjust this just a little bit. See how that just opened all of this up and brought a lot more light, so we can tell that there's a person there and he's not falling into the shadows. Right there. And I could do the same thing here if I wanted to lift this area, but I like the fall off of the light to dark. But look how it did the dress. No blowouts. You can see every ounce of lace on this gorgeous dress. Everything looks crisp and there without being overworked. So it's a very, very gentle preset, but it's just beautiful. We got a baby. Same thing, nice and soft, and you can push this. And see, it's just very gentle. There's the brighter version. I would maybe turn that down a little just to keep those highlights from blowing out too much. And if you want to add a little vibrance, there you go. Next image. And I apologize if you guys can hear the storm outside. I tried waiting, but we have a hurricane coming through, so it's a little windy and rainy right now, and I sit by a window, so hopefully you can't hear it and it's not distracting. All right, this image, again, doesn't need a whole lot. I could warm it up a little. Let's add in a little bit of blush tone. I think that just adds a nice sophisticated touch. Feel like we may need to lighten his suit a little, so I'm going to run the AI for that. And I'm going to pull it down so you can see. And then there you go. That way I didn't mess with the background because I like the fall off and the contrast back there. But you can see just how gentle this is. I did add the blush tone to this one, but it looks gorgeous, clean, magazine ready, stunning. I want to do a black and white on this one and compare the two. I actually really like that. I'm going to do glow glow. There you go. That doesn't even need work. I mean, it's just stunning. There you go. Like I said, this is a very heavy preset, not intended for these, but it actually has a really cool look. So I want to show it just so you guys can see the options with it. All right, let's see on different skin tones. Let me get that going. There we go. You can see it really doesn't adjust the skin tone too much, keeps it pretty natural. You can adjust temps to taste. And that looks gorgeous. You can see how it keeps her black hair nice and rich and dark. Still see all the details. Everything looks really good. Here we go. Here's one that's more of a direct flash, so we're going to go straight to this one. And I'm going to pull down the warmth a little. Let me check minus vibrance. I think I like that on there. And you can always add a little bit of glow. Sometimes that helps as needed. There you go. Here's a good backlit one. We can try the shadow lift. I'm going to go ahead and get this going though. Perfect. Let's pull it down a little. I think I want to add a smidge of contrast on this one. There we go. There's a nice moody one. Let's go here. Pull down the warmth just a touch. Don't forget to use your sliders. It takes your presets to the next level. I mean, it gives you so much options for really pushing the preset. And here's one where we could use a little extra contrast because we have some haze coming in. And I'm actually going to add a smidge of vibrance. There we go. I wanted to show you this one because it's all white, so you see how it works on whites. Looks good. That one obviously cuts down the highlights to make it a little flatter look. And there's a brighter version. So you can really see the actual tones are minimal in adjustments. There you go. Another one for black and white. It's just beautiful. It helps to have all this beautiful work to work with, so it makes my job kind of easy. Beach photo, full sun. And that looks good. One click, ready to go. And that was a Canon. Just so you know, I've got a little bit of everything. I have Nikon, Canon, Canon, Sony. We've really mixed it in here to make sure there's a good variety of camera bodies for you guys to see how it works for you. Super clean and easy. I mean, look at these guys. Aren't they adorable? Crisper, a little moodier. Like I said, that even looks great on some of these images. It's just got a great look. All right, I'm gonna add a little warmth in here. There you go. Love this image. I'm going to use I knew I was going to use the second one on this because I felt like it was a little flat and needed a little extra love. There you go. I mean, these are like 2-second edits. It's really not taking a lot to get these where they need to be. The quality of photography is high, so I will say that is that, you know, the better you shoot in camera, the easier your edits will be in the long run. But we do have some with, you know, difficult lighting or white balances and such. But the better you can get it in camera, the easier your editing will be for sure. So if you're struggling with your editing, then try focusing on shooting better and more technical. I say that loosely because I wasn't a technical shooter, but trying to get your white balance and your exposure good and your colors good in camera will make your editing life so much easier. That's why a lot of these are nearly one-click edits. You can see this one's a little warm, so we might need to cool it down just a little. Just a smidge. I watch skin tones when I adjust white balance. That's where I want my focus to be. And there you go. And I'm going to do a subject lift. Just lighten her up just a little. She was falling into that shadow of his shoulder a little. And there you go. I mean, that's beautiful. And this with the blush tone on it. Look at that. It's gorgeous. The black and white on this, I'm very, very happy with it. I'm really happy with a lot of our black and whites. I really don't think you can go wrong. But these just are very fine art. And I really love the way they turned out. Right there. You can see they're practically one-click edits. It really doesn't need a ton of work. It's gentle, soft, takes just that extra touch of reds out of the skin to make the skin look a little more luminous and clean. Beautiful. Family on the beach. I'm going to go with this one. We're going to warm it up a little. Let that sun actually peek through there. And subject. There we go. That lightens them up just right. Maybe a little too much. So we're going to find that little happy medium to make it look natural. There you go. All right, this one's going to need some warmth. See if we can take a look at the greens. This might be, these are already kind of blue greens, so it'd be interesting to see. There you go. So you can see it just really gave it that kind of Fujifilm look. So here's your more natural greens, and here's a little more of that filmy green. And again, you can turn this down so you can find your happy medium there as well. Soften just takes down the saturation a bit, but that looks gorgeous. Alrighty, I'm gonna do one. Actually, yeah, we're gonna do 3. We're gonna turn this down just a little, and we're gonna do a couple of the AI tools. Actually, I want to run blush tone on this. There we go. And here, I'm gonna take that off. So here it is. I'm gonna put it here on the left by itself. Now let's run some of our tools. First, I want to run blush tone. I'm going to lift the shadows on them just a smidge. Turn that down a little. I'm going to fix the sky. And again, I can turn that down. So you're like, I want to see these beautiful candy clouds, but I don't want them being overpowering. So you can kind of find that sweet spot of where you want them. And there you go. So it gives you 2 completely different edits. So here's your just straightforward edit. Here's a little more of an artistic edit. Honestly, one click. I do want to show you. You can see that it's like the slightest effort of touch of cream, and it's so slight it's not even funny, and I'm talking it's probably like a point or 2, just to make these whites not look blue white, if that makes sense. It just warms them up just enough. You can see how much of the blue it cut out. I didn't run any white balance on this at all, but you can see how it just really cleaned up those whites. Gorgeous image. Let's see, we got to get some warmth. We definitely need some magenta in there, and lighten her up there. I just added a nice little bit of glow. There, glow soft, and that kind of just softens everything up and gives it a beautiful, just with the way the dress is, it just gives a nice glowy effect to the image. All right, we're nearing the end here. This one I wanted to show you a couple different ways. Let's get in here. There we go. There's the right tones. There's just straightforward. There's a little pop. I like it rich like that. That looks very good. It just fits the vibe of the venue. That actually looks really good on this. And again, this shines when you have bright highlights and deep dark areas. And it really works with the depth of those 2 things. So it has a little bit of vignetting to it too, so it really brings your eye in. I think that looks gorgeous. And then we'll turn this down a little for the black and white. And then the glow, we'll take this off a little right there. Where am I at? There we go. All right, this one needs a white balance adjustment. I usually lean on auto when I can just to get me started. It's just faster. I can obviously hand tweak these 2, but that takes me longer than clicking one click. So if you want a shortcut, try auto. Doesn't always work. It definitely depends on your camera body. But more than not, it does work and get you at least close so you can tweak from there and it not be a headache. There we go. Just to show you the other versions. Beautiful table setting, and that's one click. You can see it still does have a little bit of this kind of filmy fall off, because someone was asking if this is true color or more film, and I think it's a hybrid. We wanted just a sophisticated editorial style edit, so we just, like I said, took a little bit of the saturation out of some dominant colors and soften things up a little so it gives a little more of that dreamy effect, but keeps it clean for your vendors, your clients, so it looks like how it looked at the venue with maybe like a little bit of an artistic touch. I'm going to go ahead and keep this full screen. So same thing, let's pick one. I'm going to go with one. I'm actually going to bring this down a little. I'm going to add in a little bit of contrast. I'm going to lift the subject, turn it down a little, and I'm going to fix the sky. And again, so here's with not out. That's too much because it doesn't even look like it matches. So what I want is just a little more of that sky detail. There you go. And that actually helps reflect this look here. And then let's add in a smidge of vibrance. There we go. This is a fun photo. Maybe branding. This works for a little bit of everything because it's so subtle. I'm just pulling a little of that magenta out that was in the original file. You see how much red and pinks are in here. So this pulls a lot out, so I just pulled a little extra out there, and that looks gorgeous. I think this would be pretty to be black and white too, because the contrast. Oh, wrong one. Right about there. All right, and we have some greens. There we go. Like I said, you can push this, so don't be afraid to push it to really kind of make things pop. Not a lot I would do to this. It's honestly pretty great straight out of the box. A little family session. I think I like this one. I'm going to push it a little. Gorgeous. And last image, again, I forgot to undo. And let's go here. Going to lift. So one click and just lifting the exposure, and there's your difference. And look at how you can still see all of the details. It's not overly processed. Everything's still there. Everything's accentuated, but with a gentle hand. The woods aren't too orange. We worked really hard not to pull some oranges out and reds. So it just has a very sophisticated edit. And there you go. That's a look at Refined 4. And be sure to check out the credits below in this video, and check out all these stunning photographers and give them a follow. And I look forward to hearing from you guys in our Facebook community. I'm always in there every day chit-chatting with you guys, so be sure to jump in there if you haven't. I'll link that below as well. And like and subscribe if you liked this video, and there's a link to Refine 4 if you'd like to get this collection for yourself.